This video is brought to you by Toys-R-Us UK. Use promo code TURTLETALK upon checkout and receive up to 10% off of these selected lines. That's promo code TURTLETALK. Link is in the description. What is going on, toy fan? Project Piper Customs here, and welcome back to a brand new edition of the Custom Cave. It's been a while, but I thought it's time to dust off the paintbrushes, flex those dry brushing muscles and get back into action. What better way to do it with another Mcfarlane repaint? And today we have the Mcfarlane DC Multiverse Grim Knight Batman. And this one was a no-brainer. Another Mcfarlane buck that's beautifully sculpted but dying for a repaint. It was a perfect blank canvas to get cracking again. So what we're going to do, we're going to roll out the work in progress, and when we come back we're going to go over all the work done and the materials used. So let's go. Alright, so one of the first things we want to do for prepping to paint this guy is I want to be able to remove this harness without having to cut it. Okay, as you can see on the back, ideally there's not really a great place to cut it, so I'll be able to glue it back. That's going to be strong. Okay, so and I definitely want to remove this piece, which is all just one piece, so that I'm not having to move it out the way in order to get to do some added details to the body. I'd rather it be out the way. I hate having to move things out the way, so if I can remove it I will. So my idea is basically to remove it at the midsection, which is just here. As you can see, there is a peg just inside, you can see that. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to give this guy a nice hot bath. Let him soak in some hot water. Hopefully I should soften up the plastic and I should be able to pop the torso, and then I should hopefully be able to wiggle this free so I can get to the chest area, and of course it separates this for some paint. Alright, as you can see we've got him out of the bath. He's now drying on the towel, and as you can see I was successful in getting the upper torso off. Okay, so there's the ball joint there. Okay, and we can work on that later, but now with this off I should hopefully be able to get this harness off without breaking it. Alright, and now that we've got these two apart, it was time to prime. And I did that with this, which is the Humbrol acrylic varnish, and we have it's matte. So it's a matte dull coat in a spray. Great gear, use it all the time. And as you can see, it's taken all of that sheen away from the figure. Okay, and it's left us with this nice matte surface. Okay, all over, underneath the arms, on the head, and we've got the same for the legs. Okay, so now that we have a nice primed surface, and we've got the harness away, I want to focus on this bat logo. Now I had some ideas. I didn't really feel this colour. I did want to hit it with something a little bit more metallic, but I was thinking, you know, it's nice clean surface. I don't want a nice clean surface. This is the Punisher version of Batman. I want some battle damage. So what I'm thinking of doing is going in with a standing knife or any blade that I have and creating some slash marks, some cut marks, and possibly even creating a couple of bullet holes on the front. And then I want to go in with a really high chrome surface paint. Alright, something just really just going to shimmer in that light, and then I'm just going to bring it back with a black wash so it gives us that chromed gunmetal look, as if he's made his bat logo basically a bulletproof vest. All right, that's how I want to sort of see this guy. Okay, that's what I want to try and give it, as I'm sort of just my own sort of take on it. And yeah, so if this is going to be the bright area of the figure as it is in the comics, you know, when he's in the shadows, this area is just gleaming of the bat symbol. It's kind of symbolic obviously, but I'm going to make that a bit more tactical and hit it with a nice chrome finish with some battle damage. All right, so let's get on. Alright, and now that we're back from the work in progress, it's time to have a look at all the materials used along with the breakdown. Okay, so in front of you here is all the paints that I used for this custom and some other materials which you didn't see on camera, but we're going to go through right now. Okay, so let's bring him forward so we can have a look and have a good look see. Okay, so as you saw, this is the burnt umber brown that I used for the pouches. Okay, so we've got Americana burnt umber brown, and as you can see, it's a really nice brown. Get the light on it. Okay, it's not too dark, not too light, and works great for that medium. Okay, so with that, to get the worn leather look, okay, the other colour that I mixed in slightly with it, as you saw in the video, is this one, which is the Citadel Balor brown. Okay, so from this, I did a little bit of the dark umber, mixed it together, and obviously, yeah, as you saw, dry brushed the edging, and just to give the a worn leather look. Okay, because the leather sculpt is actually there. Okay, as you can see on some of the side of the pouches, like here, you can actually see a little bit of a leather texture, which is awesome. And okay, just dry brushing the edges on the tops as well, and it really gives that worn leather look to the pouches. Okay, so those are the two colours that I used for that. We have the gloss black and the matte black. So with the areas that I used in matte black are some of these straps here, just to give it a bit of variation from the grey. Okay, and some of the areas I used the gloss, as you can see on these little little straps here, holding the knife, and across the buckle. As you can see, they've got a little bit more shimmer. Okay, and also some of the straps on the back. Okay, just to mix it up and vary it up a bit. Okay, so that's the fun part about this build, is that there were so many details with it that, you know, the world is your oyster. Now, the inspiration that I took, you know, as a guide for this was the statue, the Prime 1 statue, which I'll show a picture of now. Okay, and that sort of gave me the inspiration for the sort of colour scheme I wanted to go for, the more realistic tactical version. So yeah, along with the brown pouches and the silver accents. Alright, and speaking of silver, we have our favourite of the channel, as you've seen many times, the Tamiya Titanium Silver X32. My favourite metallic silver, to be honest. It's kind of in between chrome and sort of steel colour, and it really gives you that nice medium and just the perfect shimmer for what I'm after whenever I want to add a silver accent to something, which you saw me dry brushing on the knee pads and the various buckles, okay, and the buttons. Also got some along where the knife is here, just there on the various spots, these buckles here. Okay, along with all the dry brushing that this got. Okay, and of course the guns themselves, which you didn't see, but they got a good dry brushing too, to give them that worn look. Okay, so that's the silver that we used. What else do we have? We have the pewter, Lumiere Pewter. Now this you won't really see, but I used it on the gauntlets just here. Alright, get a good focus in. So not the actual fins themselves, but on the gauntlets. Okay, and we're going to get into the wraps in a minute. The gauntlets, the fins themselves were again the titanium silver, but for a different variation. Okay, just here we used the pewter. This is just what I decided to go with. Of course, if you decide to do the same, you can use your own silvers or whatever you decide. Alright, and of course lastly we have, out of the acrylic paints, we have this. Now we use this on the Venom custom, and this acts more like a Mod Podge. It dries clear gloss. Very strange stuff. Okay, but I use this specifically if I pop the gun assembly from the back, pop you over there. Okay, was specifically for this particular rifle. Now with this rifle, I wanted to give him a wooden stock and obviously a wooden grip for the particular rifle that I believe it is. And with that, I wanted a wood grain texture with a bit of polish to it. So we went in, as you saw, with the burnt umber. And what you didn't see was I then dry brushed some of this very lightly over across the top. All right. I then added a very thin layer of this, which is the reason why it's got a semi-gloss coat to it. This was a lot shinier because after that I then went in a very fine dry matte black dry brush. Okay, and once I did that, it dulled down the shimmer and it actually gave me a sort of a wood grain effect. Alright, very, very happy with how that came out. Okay, and with this again, titanium silver for the blade. For the green here on the wrap around the magazine, okay, we went with the Draken green layer from Citadel. Okay, and that is also on the mini grenades that are dangling from this cloth. As you can see, also use some silver on the pins. Okay, so they're kind of the only colours that I put into this. Majority of it was all a lot of dry brushing with the silver. And of course, what you saw in earlier in the video, we have the mirrored chrome, which we have on the bat symbol there. And this is the Deco spray mirrored chrome, and links to this, and of course the matte clear coat varnish. Both links to these will be in the description for the UK Amazon site. Of course, we've got the Humbrol acrylic and the Deco spray. So you got the brand spray. So you got the brands there if you wish to look them up on American Amazon or wherever you're based. Okay, so those are the two from the beginning of the video. We have all the colours that were used. Obviously, we have the Tamiya weathering master kit, which we used on the boots. Okay, so as you can see there, just to dull down the boots a bit, we added some nice weathering just to the boots and around the various wrinkles on the trousers. As you can see, he's been trudging around in the dirt, popping that to one side. The areas which I didn't film, unfortunately, but I will go through right now, is of course the fabric. Alright, so as you can see, Mr. Batman has a fabric scarf, and of course he has some wraps. So we're going to get into the wraps first. Okay, now from the statue inspiration, he does have hand wraps. Okay, and that's kind of what I wanted to go for. As nice as the gauntlets were, I did want to go in with the wraps because I thought it would just give it a bit more of a weathered desert look. Okay, and with that we have this, okay, which is black elastic ribbon. Okay, so you can see there, braided polyester by Hemline. Okay, just got this from my local hobby store. As you can see, stretchy, and it's perfect. Okay, because of its stretchiness, it maintains articulation in the joints. All right, and this is 3mm. All right, so that we used in the wraps, and that was just very, very, very simple. All right, so what we did here, and get it in focus, is I started off here. Okay, and then just continued wrapping it around, and I started off there, beg your pardon, started it there, glued it down, and then we just continued wrapping it around variously, you know, all across in between the fins, okay, until we got to the back, and then just glued it down and then tucked it underneath. And then we added a couple of wraps to the hands. Okay, again, same process, glued it down, wrapped it around, glued it back, and then tucked it in, and we still have wrist swivel, no problem at all. Did that for both sides. All right, so did that for both sides, and it came out really great. I'm really liking how they look. Okay, just added a bit more of a desert aesthetic to it. Okay, now moving on to the scarf, I really wanted to give him a fabric scarf, something that I could take down and put up, because I really love the look that was from the statue. And I thought, well, I want to use a bandage material, as that's kind of the raggedy material that I imagined, and but I didn't want to like sit there and fabric paint regular white bandage. So I went on Amazon and I found, okay, black sports bandage wrap. Okay, this came in a set of 3 with a blue and a red. So just pop in there. Okay, and this stuff is awesome. Okay, very, very cheap, and yeah, it's just black bandage wrap. It's elasticated and it self-adheres. Crazy, absolutely crazy. So this was ideal, and I did like the fact, obviously, the elastic lines were visible, but it gave it that flannel look, and I was quite happy with that. It added a little bit something to it. Okay, so if I turn you around, as you can see, I just sort of roughly wrapped it around, decided what length I wanted, trimmed it, and then of course just scrunched it up, glued it down one side, wrapped it around the front, and I glued it down along the edge, back round again, and then gave it a fold and then glued it down as if it was all knotted up. And yeah, it works perfect. His head can remain articulated. It hooks onto his nose beautifully, as you can see, and of course it can come down. Okay, so if you did want to have the face reveal, okay, it's a little bit fiddly, but it can be done just like so, just like that. And yeah, it's a little bit fiddly to put back, but once you've got the hang of it, it can be done as well, as you can see, just like that. Okay, and there she is. Bosh, masked up. Okay, so those are the two areas that unfortunately you didn't see on camera, but they were very, very simple. And both of these materials, this was from my local hobby store. I will try and put an Amazon link in the description, but I will put the Amazon link in the description for this. Again, it will be a UK link, so you will have to just check for black sports bandage wraps on the various Amazons from wherever you're based. Okay, and that is it for materials used. And as you saw in the video, again, it is just a lot of dry brushing, washes. Okay, and that's all it needs. These Mcfarlane figures are just awesome. Okay, not maybe for articulation, but for sculpt. As you've seen, this is the second one I've done on the channel, and I love the tactical style, the aesthetic of the tactical designs and the sculpt, because there's so much detail put into them. And even though they are lacking a paint job, for the price point, that is where you can have some fun, and they are the perfect base bodies for you to practice your dry brushing, your washes, and your other painting techniques, like experimenting with worn leather or a wood grain. Okay, just perfect for experimenting, and I'm extremely happy with how this one turned out. Pop him back in there. All right, and now he's ready to kick some ass. And there you have it, a quick, simple and easy repaint and some modification to turn a cheap figure into something a lot more. So let me know what you think of this one, and let me know if you yourself will be giving this a try. There are more custom caves on the way, some bigger, badder and meaner projects, but if there's something you would like to see me tackle, please let me know in the comments. Please subscribe to the channel if you're new, give this video a like on the way out, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.